Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, no more lives, unless I do Facebook Live, which now has an added intensity. To an extraordinary level. So definitely there's a notable difference of my, what's the word? Anticipatory, reaction, depending on where I am, and especially live. And this is what I mean. It's got to be something like 98%, maybe less, but maybe more. I don't know. Of people have absolutely no idea about any of this. Yet it is those people who are in the comments section and who are also politically setting guidelines for this unknown, very new. But this is the thing. It's like it's exactly the same as anything else. So it's like, if I had to go and perform at the Royal Albert Hall, which just quietly, like I might want to do one day, there'd be a huge anticipation. Like that in a way, because of what I knew I was doing yesterday, in alignment with my story, it's like it was probably 5 times worse than that. On live, on a new environment, and it's like, and I jumped in, and I'm happy with what I did. But if you're just Facebook doesn't change for you. See, no one thinks when they open Facebook that they've just bought a ticket and they're sitting down about to see a show, or despite the fact that that's obviously what you're doing, it's too convenient. See, it's shifted all the cultural spaces into one sideshow, and that's, I guess, not doing a very good job at directing those people to the traditional physical places that the particular people would thrive in. I mean, basically, if you're a Facebook commenter, you really are just a critic. You're maybe a film critic or a theatre critic or something like that. And I mean that job, that's how much of the newspaper you get. Right? So, and you got to compete with everyone else. It's like and you only get to criticize one thing, really. There's like one thing, and you go one thing a week, and you get to intensely criticize that. And that was the pre-existing condition. That's what Facebook comments are. That's what Instagram comments are. That's what YouTube comments are. Okay, so I'm not saying I'm not trying to deperson you. I'm saying you have to all now compete for that much newspaper once a week about one thing. So, yeah, that will filter out, I guess, that will, your time to get serious. If you're serious about your Facebook commenting, about your YouTube commenting, about your Instagram commenting, about your trolling, as you call it, if you want to make a living from this, you better get fucking serious. Right? That bit of newspaper is not going to write itself. I'll just leave that there on the whiteboard markers, right? Just as a little display, if I can get it to sit, but I can't. Oh, there we go. Fallen almost just out of scene. Yeah, there is a type of war going on between the established physical world and the digital world for every profession and every hobby and every arena and every art form. I don't like all the things, and basically what's happening is, like, if you're already in the room, if you're already on the stage, if you're already in the green room or in the rehearsal studio, or if you're already there, at a level that is, and if you're already in Parliament, basically all of those people collectively decided to say all the internet people are just crazy weirdos. Obviously they're all just crazy weirdos because they're doing something on the evil fucking internet, on the evil social media, on the very strange, dirty fucking... And it's like, that's already telling you everything you need to know. People will say far too much before the truth is able to fucking land. So everyone who said that, including, our favourite fucking stickman... Oh shit. Our favourite stickman fucking pirate king of HR, Anthony Albanese... It's already too late to say that you didn't. You've already done it. You have been spitting on the fucking buskers in the fucking alleyway that formed between the physical world and the digital world. You've been strolling along with your high-heeled boots and your long cloak, jollyishly fucking bantering with your fellow lords and ladies about the riffraff that is fucking entertaining or trying to entertain the masses in the fucking alleyway. Phil McCoy, I wish they would just demolish the whole place. Oh dear. I'll just fling my postcards over. Put this on the internet. What good is the internet ever going to do to anyone, despite it paying everyone, despite it informing everyone? Who would ever dare to be an artist or a performer? God, an actor, in that little alleyway. Oh, what good is anyone going to do? And I'd say, well, John Butler Trio. He was sitting he was busking, a homeless busker in Fremantle. But that's not at all what I'm saying. I wouldn't at all use John Butler, right? Because he was in the physical world, and then he was thrust into the world of international distributed manufactured music. That's not what I'm talking about. That already was the war against our culture. Okay, what these social media environments are, they are audition rooms. Now, we've already seen one particular amount of auditions. There has been a tsunami, an absolute downpour. As I look out the window, and the rain is in Perth, and I just feel so much better. Can you tell? Can you tell the difference? This is called, what I've had recently is called precipitation anticipation disorder. Okay, it is in the DSM, you should look it up. It is a very particular Australian condition, especially for people that have migrated and have naturalised but migrated a long time ago from Great Britain. And it's quite intense, especially just before it breaks. It's a participation anticipation disorder. And now that the participation is here and everything is all wet, I'm able to let my fucking flag fly and just, stroll off into optimism again. I'm like, oh, we're not all going to die in a drought. Oh, wonderful. I can talk about theatre. It makes me feel like home when it starts to rain. A home I've never been to. I've never even seen with my own eyes. I've only seen it displayed on the internet. The place where I'm being displayed right now to you all, to tell you about the dangers of the dissociation disorder. This is another disorder. The digital dissociation disorder that our Prime Minister, or your Prime Minister, is well and truly inflicted with. In fact, he is so infected we would almost guarantee that it is terminal and it will lead to his early demise. Unless we inject him. Emergency protocol. We need to gather around him as his constituency, as his citizenry, to hoist him up on our shoulders and inject him with a big dose of culture right in his little mouth. Right? Like one of those dosing things for a horse or a sheep. We need to get him, hold him down, and I'll fucking squeeze the ivermectin right in his mouth. Okay? Now, ivermectin, I've heard from every single person on the internet, that ivermectin is the safest and most wonderful drug that you could ever have in your life. Okay? And there was some negative press because it was designed for horses. And so to align ourselves with the marketing, with the trends of the time, we've now turned our ivermectin syringes, we've given them a rainbow unicorn fucking theme, okay? So when we hold the Prime Minister down, okay, I need 2 stable volunteers. Is there anyone in the audience? Remember, this is an audience? Remember this? Remember this character? These were everywhere when I was a kid because the internet didn't exist. I never got, no harm done. No harm done. Yeah, there was a bunch of people like this. They're almost like the ringmaster or the MC or I don't know what they were. And they would do things like this. They'd be like, any volunteers? Are there any volunteers? Like sometimes they'd be in a circus, sometimes they'd be everywhere. All different places, okay? On a stage mostly. On a stage. So I need 2 strong volunteers to hold Anthony Albanese, the pirate king of HR, down while we inject him with this ivermectin rainbow unicorn paste. Okay, it is a horse paste, but it has been refined, okay, down to a human-friendly, and it'll just whack all that digital dissociation right out of him, and he'll be good as new. Okay, and then we'll have a Prime Minister that we can rely on. We'll have a Prime Minister that has been inoculated against this kind of bourgeois, elitist, infliction, that makes him feel like he can drag his cape along and stroll kind of like this down the alleyway and just laugh at the people trying to entertain him. Oh, fuck. You alley dwellers are never going to get anywhere like this. I'm the fucking Prime Minister of Australia. Don't you know that? Okay? Don't you know that the internet is a lost cause unless you're in my political party? Haven't you seen who I associate with? I associate with the best of the best. The world's greatest leaders. The rulers of men. The entertainers of the masses. Right? In the real place. Like on maths. Okay, like on The Bachelor, like on Instagram. Okay, the people I associate with literally entertain the crowd at the women's AFL. I am a bit of a big deal. Okay, I think I understand what's hot and what's not. And I would say, yeah, you're right. I would say putting the young talent of Australia for 2 generations now and forcing them to entertain the fucking masses while crouched down on a piece of cardboard in the alleyway that has been formed by the dissociation between the digital world and the physical world. You know what I mean? In this kind of perpetual homelessness for any single person that has a creative concept about how they could bridge this gap, or perhaps just, bring them so close together, make the alleyway so narrow that all of a sudden, just by the power of magnetism, it just, oh, fuck, the alleyway's gone. And then magically, it's like all the really good fucking people that were in the alleyway are now just all of a sudden they're just in the physical world. They're in all those things that don't get used anymore, like theatres and stages and venues and and like I don't know, like all the and Parliament hasn't been used properly in ages because everyone was in the alleyway. Like, what else would I be? Potentially, if I wanted to, I think I could be a pretty good Prime Minister. I don't want to be the Prime Minister, but I think I could be a pretty good Prime Minister. But what Anthony Albanese, the Pirate King of HR, has done to me is he stuck me in an alleyway going like this. Please can I have a like? Please. And it's just like, he's like reverse Moses. You know, he's parting the fucking digital world and the physical world, and he's just got his hands on this fucking alleyway constantly. And he's like, no, keep my people in the alleyway so that it looks like a Melbourne alleyway, and start graffitiing on the walls so that it looks culturally fucking significant. And I've just been saying that. Do you know, Anthony, that graffiti was only, you know, that was a political scam to make it seem culturally fucking significant, but it was actually cultural decline, and it's just a political fucking spin campaign. The alleyways should never have existed. And then, like any Australian independent musician, I had to fucking roll in the fucking ridiculously culturally appropriated fucking Aboriginal instrument, right? And go, fuck off, Albert! Get the fuck out of the alleyway! Get out of the fucking alleyway, Albert! Get out of the alleyway! Fucking Xavier Rudd, eat your fucking heart out. You know what I mean? And then as soon as I whack that fucking reverse Moses out of the alleyway disintegrates, all that graffiti just becomes like historically entombed between fucking two courses of bricks that may never be a thing. It's like one day in 1,000 years, perhaps, when they're digging up the ruins of Melbourne that has been, you know, covered over by a tidal wave of sand dune, Western Australia, the fucking dust bowl from our agricultural decline, you know, washed over in a fucking mudslide that absolutely entombed the former city of Melbourne under this layer of fucking silt, only for a new cultural, you know, probably the Dutch recolonisation of Australia, you know, forgotten about the wondrous fucking culture of Melbourne alleyways, you know, meticulously removes the silt, you know, and one by one the bricks are assembled until they realise that there are fucking historic and monumental artworks that have been apparently spray painted on this brick facade that apparently was held apart by some ridiculous fucking culturally pandering Prime Minister. And the Dutch Museum of Melbourne's decline, you know, will have only a few bricks left. Like, but then we'll go like, we'll be like, oh, there's this. We can imagine that they would spray paint the bricks to bring up some type of pagan ocean deity that they would sacrifice people in the alleyway to appease their political aspirations and to perpetuate their kind of pagan dissociation between an imaginary world that was contained in their hands and a type of dumbed down physical world where they forced all the future generations of potential, you know, highly performing, highly functioning contributors, obviously blessed with the new technological gifts, they would force them to fight each other, you know, in a scaled down fucking coliseum, right? That was distributed. It's like it was like a coliseum of bricks, right? And then if they were successful, they were allowed to to walk the streets and the alleyways with that judgmental fucking, opinion. That was you'd be tapped on the shoulder, okay, by one of the elite class of human resources advocates. They would gently approach you, tap you on the shoulder, and they would say, "You're allowed out of the alleyway now," okay, and then they would take you to another alleyway where you would be able to contribute your artwork to the wall. Apparently, this is all just theoretical. Okay, this is just what I heard from the time-traveling Dutchman that came back and said, like, I can't believe it was just a fucking shitty fucking alleyway that people graffitied, and the politicians tried to pretend that was culturally fucking relevant. We thought it was this big elaborate fucking ceremony, because I don't know, that's what everyone from the future thinks about the past. It has to be that. It's always that. It's always this huge cultural ceremony of something or other, and it's like, no, it was bored heroin addicts that painted the fucking bricks of the old sheds that used to supply wool. That's it. Like, let's get down to fucking brass tacks here. That's what it is. Melbourne is not culturally significant, right? It's an experimental fucking lobster farm. It's an experimental fucking high intensive fucking, and I don't know what, and it's a rabbit warren of industrial waste. Okay? And it seems to have had for a long time a problem getting the people from being born to the appropriate, and still remaining but underutilised cultural artefacts left by the British Empire, like the theatre, the library, the opera house, the town meeting, the town council, the parliaments, the courthouses, the schools. It is doing a very poor job at sorting all those people, because it's making them all fight to the death on a phone to perpetuate Albo, the HR king, the pirate king of HR's delusions of grandeur, that his particular fucking entrance, his particular moment was the pinnacle of Australian culture. Okay? He has bridged the divide between the haves and the have-nots, and he has tightrope walked his way and then demanded that the cable be destroyed before anyone else dares risk the dangerous and perilous journey that led our very own Anthony Albanese all the way to Parliament House. In fact, it wasn't a cable, because that would be the right image. It's like, it is whispered in the streets of Melbourne and Sydney that Anthony Albanese, the pirate king of HR, he propped a didgeridoo that he got from Temu, and then he walked along the didgeridoo, you know what I mean, while crowds of animals and aboriginals and street cats assembled around him, only for him to finally finish his journey as the entire didgeridoo fell into the fucking ocean, and he found himself as Albanese, the pirate king of Australia. And then every white person with dreadlocks and a tie-dyed shirt was ordered to gather around and send out the good news to all the townsfolk. Australia has chosen their king. Australia has chosen their king. Like that. And we all sat in wondering how on earth we could have been so fortunate as to be blessed with such a noble, courageous, intelligent, and devilishly handsome Prime Minister. Come on, don't. This is your moment, Albo. It is a camera. Don't. It's just like the other big cameras. It's just like standing in front of Parliament House. It's okay. No, don't worry. Surely this isn't more scary than going into a mosque where you. Come on, don't fail me now, Albo. Come on, mate. If you excuse me, our Prime Minister is having a bit of a moment of a bit of a personal crisis, okay? I'm sure he's going to, in a minute, return to the Anthony Albanese that we all love. I don't know whether I talk him up too much. Sometimes if you give someone too big of an entrance, the anticipation and all that just gets to their head. It's like, come on, Albanese, let's go. Albo, come on, stand up tall, mate. There you go. Ready? Alrighty. Let me see. What if I fucking tie? I've got to get this splint, okay? Now I've got a Crocodile Dundee fucking tooth here. I'm going to splint this up here like I need to fucking hold him up like a scarecrow, okay? Come on. Oh shit, still not working. What about if I stab that through there? Oh no, that's the pencil broken. What if I fucking get all the electricians in the world to fucking create a fucking digital fucking concentration camp with all their screwdrivers and stab Anthony Albanese's kite through there? It's like, will that work? Can that hold up our king? Please, come on. Can that hold him up? Sorry, we're having some technical electrical difficulties here. The electrical trades union are getting upset in this moment. They're thinking that they're going to get the blame for an incompetent and camera-shy Prime Minister. Come on, fellas. What the fuck? What the fuck? Guys, I'm sorry. The Electrical Trades Union has just stabbed the fucking Prime Minister of Australia in the back of the head. Guys, for fuck's sake, what about if I fucking stick the Electrical Trades Union on this container here of fucking colourful fucking texters? Is that... Well, that just looks worse. Now we have an impaled fucking headless Prime Minister, King of Albo, the fucking pirate king of HR, impaled by the Electrical Trades Union on top of a fucking colourful box of crayons next to a rainbow unicorn assemblement of fucking puffed of fucking pencils. I cannot quite... This isn't at all what was planned. I mean, I can't think of anything fucking worse than this. I just can't. There's nothing really that could be any worse than this particular thing for the Albanese regime. I mean, what on earth could possibly make this worse? Oh no. Can you hear that? Can you fucking hear that? Isn't this like fucking Playschool? This is just like Playschool, okay? Something's fucking happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I've got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's a blustery. I can hear drums. I can hear cyclone energy. I can feel it. You know what I mean? The feathers. Group's feathers are just fucking rattling. Something very anomalous is coming to this country from over here. I feel like it's come from here. It's worked its way down here. It's come down through Exmouth, where I did witness a wonderful fucking eclipse. It's like, it's the fucking Arnhem Land fucking Aboriginal elders, and I think that they're a bit pissed off that Albo tried to fucking plug them all into the Matrix. I really am concerned that something astronomically anomalous is about to happen to our fucking Prime Minister. Can I fucking... fucking Narelle. Now there's one thing I think every... oh shit. Every Australian can fucking firmly understand, okay? Who's ever been... Any Australian who's ever been anywhere can probably understand and it's probably a warning that I think it should go on every plane ticket, every visa across the land, okay? That Australian women, which are made up of all nationalities, you know, it takes them approximately 30 years, I think, 30, maybe 35 years to become Australian women. 35 years on deck, and they become Australian women. It's a wonderful thing. It should be celebrated. They have a beautiful character, and they have a selection of names traditionally, although, you know, with our multicultural melting pot, we're going to experience some new and interesting names to add to our tapestry of feminine expression. But in the days of old, I'm talking the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, the 10s, there were two names that you would often meet, right? You might meet these women out on the town. You might meet these women dropping your kids off to school. You might meet these women at the shops, in the shopping centre, walking the aisles of Coles and Woolworths. And these two women's names are Tracy and Narelle. Tracy and Narelle. Now, just quietly, and just to make this, you know, fruitful, there was a woman, a hockey playing beauty, you know, wondrously Amazon, magnificent specimen of an Australian woman who was named Narelle, who I quite fancied. Okay, but she was married. She married a farmer. Now, the one marriage I will never get in the way of, unfortunately for us both, is between a farmer and his wife. It's just an old-fashioned thing. It's the farmer and his wife, the farmer, and so you're not allowed to. No matter how devious and Machiavellian you are, you cannot come between, unless that's requested and paid for. You cannot come between a farmer and his wife. Okay, it's just not done. It's just not done. And so Narelle was just a passing thought, and it was never consummated in any. Not only it was the most ridiculously, tentative, tragic story of infatuation. But who knows? But still, I digress. The story of Tracy and Narelle is that they have a fury like no other. Okay, and her chained heart, chained to the land. You know, in the tradition of our culture, is it the chain? The only way that she could possibly resolve this anguish was to commune with the native spirits of the land. You know, she read the manifesto of the last woman that did this, Tracy. And Tracy unleashed her fury on Darwin like only a woman with the name Tracy can. Only an Australian woman with the name Tracy could. Okay, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should Google it. But Tracy absolutely decimated that town. There's a lot of sayings. It's like if you don't allow a person to sit by your fire, they will return to the village and burn it down. Is a saying. And if you don't allow a woman to express her desires and to live the life that she was promised on the land, she will destroy your town with a fucking cyclone. Okay, so let's all just have a moment of humility right now as we witness the devastating power of manifested nature, you know, of naturalized feminine fury, of unrequited love projected into the ethos, you know, into the very stratosphere above us, to inflict a decimating downpour and astronomical gusts of wind that have literally blown a prime minister who had previously just been impaled by a collective of electrical trades unionists who did not want to be the fall guys, did not want to be the fucking patsies of this particular form of gross negligence. And so they've done the noble thing and they've stabbed the Prime Minister in the back of the head with a screwdriver. You know, it's really important for very young, like Australia is a very young country, okay? It's like a reckless teenager, okay, that's been left like Mowgli. Okay, he's been left in the bush, he's running around, he's trying to maintain his culture, but he needs to learn to live with the animals and to embrace the traditional culture of the land. And it's just an impossible task, and it's made even more impossible by the fact that the leader of the country, despite, you know, claiming to represent the people of the land, is actually issuing and ushering everyone into a fucking Melbourne alleyway so that he can lock the gates at night and then, you know, make all the fucking homeless people in the alleyway fight each other while he films them on iPhones to sell to an international market to prop up his fiscally irresponsible policies. You know what I mean? And then he resorts to rainbow unicorn pageantry to obscure the landscape with, you know, irresistible homosexual displays, you know, which especially to the closeted individuals, like it sits like a thorn in their side as they're slowly worn down to the fucking wonders of homosexuality. You know, just like, come on, in a really polite, just a weathering, like limestone cliffs and the ages. The homosexual community just patiently just waits. They're just like, come on, don't let Tracy get ya, don't let Narelle get ya. They're gonna get you one way or another. It's all fun here at the gay bar. That's see, they won't stop. They're polite. They're really like never pushy. In fact, women, in my case, are far more pushy than poofters or gay men. Sorry, I didn't mean gay men. I meant LBGTQ plus. Okay, but they're very polite. They're not pushy at all. That was what I got told. That's why I was frightened of gay people, because I got told that I was going to be raped by them if I went anywhere near them, and that just hasn't been the case You know, in fact, it's like now it's become like. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that, but they're just patiently waiting there for this cyclone to pass over, for Narelle's fucking fury to splash all over the place, to just wet the whole state down, just make it all soggy, all fucking soggy. You know, because of that anticipation, the thing that's never going to come. It's never going to come. Not once. Is it ever going to come? Never. Never is it going to come. The thing that she wants more than anything is never going to come, and it makes her furious and wet. But that's okay. That's a story for the next generation. Okay. Now, in this version of Inappropriate Playschool, which is only ever distributed as an adult's version on the internet, that should never be distributed to children. Okay, ever. Right? I am indeed not dressed as a woman. Okay, and I'm talking metaphorically about things that are really inappropriate. But there is no way in hell that I would ever suggest that this be broadcast to children. Okay? It just doesn't belong where children are. Right? And I'm actually, in my consideration, I'm being far less, far less anything than the majority of people that have been doing this job for the last, say, 6 years. And that's okay. Right? Because you grew up in the centre of I don't know, the centre of Babylon, in the street, in the alleyways, and let's just say what happens in a Melbourne alleyway stays in a Melbourne alleyway, but it didn't, you know, and that's why we have to close the alleyway down. Okay, there is now no divide between the physical world and the digital world. Anthony Albanese has retreated. His stance to keep this alleyway going has failed, and so the alley has disintegrated. There is no longer a digital alleyway where the future generation of Australians are forced to battle it out, you know, in the Colosseum in order to reach the lofty heights of our former Prime Minister, of the former pirate king of HR. Okay? That's a ridiculous thing to do. That's akin to, like, you know, hazing rituals in secret societies and cults and things like that. It is not. It should not be the scaffolding that lifts our young people to the lofty heights of the new world. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, alrighty. I'm going to now put all this away. I've made a terrible mess. Oh, look at all the mess I've made on the table. So it's going to take me ages. Oh, no, I'm kidding. I don't ever clean this up. I'm a man. No, I'm kidding as well. I do clean it up. Yeah, but not all the time. Sometimes someone else cleans it up for me. Right? And that's okay. That's okay. You know, that's what happens. It's like people do things for other people. Yeah? This job that I've been doing here, if I was doing it in any other time, there would be at least, probably, I think at this level, there would have to be at least 20 people doing the job that I'm doing to bring this level of entertainment. If you've got a crew of 20 people and you're some type of, like, I don't know, stage magician, actor / musician, like, you're going to get paid really well. Especially if you're intervening in global politics and diplomacy and launching basically the new paradigm of international diplomacy and hopefully with it, you know, I won't say world peace because that's a bit ridiculous, but it's like not world peace, but a pacification of global tensions, you know, and an opening up of global dialogue, which is going to be great. Okay, and we've got to have the full capacity of our speech and things to deal with this because we're dealing with different cultures, and it's basically all got to be taken with a grain of salt. But we've got the young people need to learn. It's like it isn't an alleyway in Melbourne that's going to be the place that you know stake your claim on the future world, on the new world. It's not It's not in the party rooms of one of our established parties. It's not pouring coffee for the crew at the project. Yeah, it is here, right? And it's like, but that one shouldn't destroy the other. If anything, in this moment of transition, we need to understand that those people did fight for their positions on that ladder, on that scaffold, that did resemble something very ordered and beautiful, and did raise us all, into something that was wonderful, but inevitably came into conflict with a global replacement. And that was a chaotic period. Okay, but we need to open the floodgates. We need to let the people in, especially the high-performing people, the people that can really bring things to society. Even if that thing is just ridiculous, mockery and entertainment or satire. It doesn't matter. We don't know. I can guarantee some of the satirical, kind of subversive themes of my content have not been appropriately identified yet, and that's my job. It is hidden with mystery. It is allegory. It's not a fucking instruction manual for an IKEA fucking wardrobe or bookshelf. It's art, right? It's meant to be open. We don't know the depths even of our masters things. We don't know unless we're allowed to look at it, unless we're allowed to talk about it, unless we're allowed to make it. And as far as the art community of Australia goes, it's like this thing of make it. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it on the big screen, lad. You're gonna make it onto the films. You're gonna make it onto the silver screen. You're gonna make it. Fight. Touchdown. Fucking, Australian idolism. The idolisation of Australian fucking youth. And the world. The whole world played this fucking trick. It doesn't work. You can't idolise Australian people, culture and performance. It's like this is a mistake. We can see it now. I knew it was a mistake when I first watched it, and when I first saw Shannon Knoll not win. I knew. I was like, well, there goes my entire fucking, dreams and aspirations of being a musician or an actor or anything like that, because look at it, they've just turned it all into a fucking coliseum. And that wasn't... I already knew at that age, which was pretty young, that was a ridiculous way to fucking do something like that. It just isn't. It's like the artist is the fucking is the outcast. They're not the dancing fucking monkey. It's like they take the dancing monkey and then stick them in the fucking alleyway with the graffitied walls, and it is vomit inducing. Especially because none of those things are even relevant. The graffiti walls were already a display. The fact that is Melbourne culture was already a display that the arts community had failed to adapt to the new generation. Instead of inviting these young musicians in, participating in a melting pot of culture and art and theatre and music, they were condemned to the outskirts of town. Which put them in the habitat of all the other individuals that were trying to dissociate. And so all the music we've had is just about dissociation and rejection and outcast and ostracism. And then we now think it's like that's a competition. So if you reverse engineer all that, we're having a global coliseum about people's art that is representing a kind of cannibalistic fucking constant ostracism from the high levels of art, only to then inevitably, in my case, hopefully, reach the pinnacle of fucking art and turn the whole thing over again. You know what I mean? And it's like, if I could, and I had have been led that way, I would be playing a fucking concerto, like a masterpiece on a fucking grand piano right now. There's no doubt in my mind. All the things are at play. There's the keyboard I used to put all this together is the same. It's a machine that does other things that make notes. It's the same thing. But this is what you get. Now, you get it because of what you all did in the previous generations and what you've normalised and the way that you've attempted to curate the young people of the country. That's your fault. If you don't like who I am and what I represent, that's your fault. I would have happily been in a fucking tailed tuxedo, you know, with long fucking a bow in my hair, playing like all of that. I would have been there. But I was sent on a fucking wild goose chase around Australia, you know, to put all this together. It's like, you know, this is what you get. Well, this is what you get when you take shortcuts. This is what you get when you settle for mediocrity as an entire fucking country. You know, you fail to identify that we have the potential here to maintain every unique personality trait and archetype of person, all the way from the corn chewing or the fucking stalk chewing, you know, pitchfork wielding farmers, to the wildest fucking, you know, crocodile wrestling bushmen, all the way to the most fucking flamboyant pianist on the stage. It's like that's our potential. Okay, it cannot be squeezed through this fucking door any longer. And I think, look at it. You know what I mean? It just can't. And people can't be forced through this door. If we as Australian, so Four Corners episode right now, rocked up to a cattle operation, okay, and they were shooting guns and mustering these cattle through a fucking door that was nowhere near fucking big enough for them. You know, thousands of them were dying. Thousands of them were resorting to suicide and to fucking drug abuse and to alcoholism and to domestic violence and to fucking dissociation, fucking, you know, hypnotism and just like failure to, not even failure to launch, it's like failure to even fucking, like, to even get up. You know, what type of outrage would we project onto that livestock operation? It's like, well, that's what we have. Okay, we have a door that's too fucking small and a fucking never-ending fucking race, a stampede to get through it. Now, I hope in this image right now that I've fucking clearly displayed the concept of scale matters. You know, I hope this is sufficient to grant me, I don't know, some type of certification perhaps that will appease the now impaled Prime Minister. You know, to allow my theoretical thesis to permeate, to percolate through now unimpeded through the Australian community. Counterintuitive and a bit ironically, probably through the fucking the device. But I would rather the truth be projected through a door that's too small than the entirety of the nation be forced with a lie through the door that's too small. So as soon as this thing stops becoming a door for a moment, that door... Well, the problem was the door wasn't big enough. Nobody could actually get through it. Okay? So what we've done is we've draped a sheet over it, and now we project a type of projection on the wall of the cave. On the wall of the door. That is liberating everyone from this conception that it was a door. And soon enough, we will all be re-established to the truth, the real truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, that this was never a door in the first place. Okay? It was just a collective delusion that everybody thought it was a door, but actually it was just a handheld tool. Okay? And as soon as we make this step, then, counterintuitively as well, the door may be able to expand, like the one that you see behind me, to an appropriately scaled device. An appropriately scaled conception of the device, and an environment on the other side of the device. Okay? An appropriately scaled ecosystem that is no longer a type of projected other world, not a metaverse of the fucking conceptual meanderings of the technologically and intellectually contained, but a a unimpeded throughway to the very real world and to the very well organised hierarchical structures of our traditional physical environments. Like a sorting box. Yes, like a sorting gate at a shearing station. No, even if I said a sorting gate at a shearing station, think about that. Well, what we do is we get all the fucking sheep in here, and I've got this gate, and it has 3 settings, and I'll put them in that yard, or that yard, okay? And then sometimes what we'd also do is if they've got fly blown, we stick a bit of fucking pink wool on them, and if they've got fucking a tail that needs dock, we put a bit of green fucking chalk on the back, and if they need to get inseminated, we put a fucking pink fucking bit of chalk on them, blah, 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 blah. We sort them all out, and then they get in there. Right, that sounds horrendous, doesn't it? That sounds horrendous. If I was to speak about Australian citizens like that, there would be recoil of absolute outrage. But I can assure you that those sheep and that gate is appropriately scaled for those sheep. Those yards are appropriately scaled for the temporary confinement of those sheep and the temporary sorting feature that the yard entails. Okay? I'm not shooting and mustering and whipping them all through a door that's no big, that goes to Neverland, that goes to fucking basically to death, to Hades. Even if that was an abattoir, we would be absolutely outraged. Why don't you just put a door that's big enough into the kill floor? Now, I'm sorry if this has triggered anybody, because it's outrageously disgusting and a nightmare. It really is a nightmare. It's like Freddy Krueger fucking, came in the middle of the night and fucking clawed your face off with those fucking things. But then you wake up and it's just there every day, and that is the reality, and that's hard. Okay, but the only way out of it is to fix the fucking problem that caused it. So it's like we've got to learn to project our outrage that we would have for our livestock onto other human beings, and that is probably the saddest thing I've ever had to say. I think, the fact that I've gotten to that level and I have to explain it in that fashion is terribly upsetting. But I'm going to process that for the next half an hour, have a second coffee for the day, lay down and watch something amusing, and hopefully it'll pass. I suggest you all do the same, and I suggest you all get to fucking work in rebuilding Australia. Thank you.